worked on some time back. Okay, and so essentially in that project, the objective was so we did not have any data which was given to us by the client, but but what the client wanted was a distribution which looked perfectly like a normal distribution. So for that, we had to do a lot of modifications to the data and ensure that it fits that exact shape of that Gaussian curve that in the normal distribution. But ideally, what you should be doing is, in these kinds of situations, you have certain data. Okay, it follows a certain distribution. You fit a normal Gaussian curve on that distribution based on the mean and standard deviation. Okay, and then you see how close your data is to the normal distribution. Okay, so let me share my screen. Yeah, hope you're able to see my screen.
This is how you can.
So this is basically one normal distribution curve that I have fitted on that emailed data set. Okay, now the bars that you see here are the actual distribution that you see. So for example, I've given the bin size as 120, so bin as in the class interval. So between 0 to 120, let's say you have 191 records. Okay, and similarly 120 to 240, you have 122 records. So like that, this is the bars represent the actual distribution in the data. Okay, and this data, as we know, has one particular value of mean and standard deviation. All right, so if you are to fit a norm, so if this data were to follow normal distribution, perfectly normal distribution, how would that look like? So that is what the curve represents. So this is what the perfect normal distribution will look like given a particular mean and standard deviation. This is what we actually have in the data, the distribution that we actually have in the data. So to make this clearer, you can just change this to a line, and then you can compare both. So the orange line is nothing but the actual distribution that we have in the data, and the blue line is the how it would look like if the data set followed a perfect normal distribution. Okay, now we'll see how to build this normal distribution. So before that, a little bit of a primer on the statistics behind it. Okay, so in Excel you have a formula that is called as norm.dist. Okay, so this norm.dist formula basically takes in 4 parameters. Okay, so the first parameter is the value called as x. Second parameter is the mean. Third parameter is the standard deviation, and fourth you have something called as cumulative. So what this formula does is it basically calculates the value of this f of x that you see here. So f of x stands for the probability density function, which is given by this formula 1 divided by sigma into square root of 2 pi into e to the power minus half multiplied by x minus mu by sigma the whole square. So x is the particular value that you are giving over here, the first parameter. Mean is the mu value that you see over here. Standard deviation is the sigma value that you see over here. Okay, and cumulative is nothing but this cumulative takes a value of true or false. Okay, so true means it's a basically a less than or equal to indication. Okay, so what this normal distribution means is, so you see here the mean I have given as 361.2, standard deviation I have given as 894.3, x I have given as 960. Okay, so what this basically means is, if there is a set of numbers, or if there's a distribution of numbers with a mean of 361.2 and a standard deviation of 894.3, what is the probability that a number in that distribution will have a value of 960? That is what is given by this formula f of x. Here we are just using the norm.dist formula. Okay, so you can see E5 is this x value over here, the 960. E3 is the 361.2, the mean. E4 is the standard deviation. Cumulative, you see, I have given as false, which means basically what is the probability that the number will be equal to 960? Okay, if I give the value cumulative as true, then it will mean what is the probability that a value is less than or equal to 960? Okay, so that is the difference between the true or false in the cumulative function that we have. Okay, so this is so what we'll essentially be doing is, in Tableau we have a set of steps. We'll create a couple of calculated fields, and then we will create one more calculated field for this formula, and then we will plot the values. So I hope everyone has got the data set in your email by this time.
Yes, we received.
Right. So what you can do is you can just open Tableau. You open a new file. Just try to follow along with me. We can do it together. So I am just opening a new file here. So you can, as usual, you can just connect to data. It's an Excel file that I sent you. So I'll just select this file, profit by customer. So you can see that it has 3 columns. This is simple. We have the same sample superstore data. I just made a pivot out of it and totaled the profit for each customer. Okay, and then I've just, for the sake of convenience, I've just given a number of records. So the reason for creating this additional column for number of records is nothing but this essentially gives you a distribution, right? So a while back I was showing you this diagram with the bars. So this bars is basically, we have the number of records, which is the frequency distribution that we have. So to get that easily, I've just put one more column with the name number of records, and the value it takes is just 1. Okay, and so once you have loaded the data set, you can just go to new sheet, and here I have outlined a set of steps that we need to follow. Okay, so I hope everyone has loaded the data set.
Yes.
All right. So the first step that we need to do is we need to create a parameter for the bin value or the class interval. Okay, so this is nothing but this particular value that you see over here. I have specified 120 as the interval. So this would be 0 to 120, this would be 120 to 240, this would be 240 to 360, and so on. If I just change this parameter to 100, you see how the value changes. You see here, so now it's 0 to 100, 100 to 200. So you see this is now in intervals of 100. So in order to specify this class interval, we are creating a parameter. That will be the first step. So you can just right click here as usual, create parameter, and you just give some name, profit bin size. So this will be your class interval, and I will say current value is 100. Just click OK, and just click here, you give show parameter. All right, so this is the first step. I hope everyone is done till here. I can proceed to the next step in that case. Just let me know.
Yes, I.
All right. So the next step here is to create a calculated field to round off the profit bin to an integer, okay, as specified in the parameter. So for example, let's say in the Excel file that we have, so this is what the file looks like. So we have profit of 129.346, 365.21, and so on. Okay, so we need to round this to a nearest bin that we have calculated. So for example, here we have given a bin size of 100, right? So we need to round this off to the nearest 100. So let's say if this is 190, then we round it off to 200. If this is 129, we round it off to 100, round it down to 100. So that round up and round down has to be according to the parameter that we have specified in this place over here in Tableau. Okay, so the reason we are doing this is because only then that frequency distribution will be calculated accurately, and we will get that smooth looking curve or the smooth looking distribution. So just for the sake of visual appearance, we are creating this additional calculated field where we are rounding the profit value up or down to the nearest number as specified by the parameter over here. So for that I have specified formula over here. So just copy paste this. What I'll do is I'll create a calculated field, and I will say bin value, and just pasting this. You can just look at the formula over here, or you can just create a calculated field, and you can put this formula inside. The formula is profit by profit bin size multiplied by the profit bin size. So the profit bin size that you see here is nothing but the parameter that we have over here. So the int function converts this to an integer, to the closest integer, and I'm just multiplying that closest integer by the same parameter in order to round it according to this parameter over here. So this is the first calculated field. Just let me know once you have typed this formula in. Done?
Yeah.
Right. So let's click on OK. Then let's see what is the next step. So the next step is to calculate, create the calculated fields for the mean and standard deviation. Okay. So this mean and standard deviation is nothing but the mean and standard deviation that you see here, the 361.2 and the 894.3. Okay. Now, one point to note here is that you need to calculate the mean and standard deviation of the entire population or the entire data set. Okay, this is because the way the normal distribution formula works, so it works based on that full data set, right? So your typical average measure that you create in Tableau directly won't work. So that's why we need to create an additional calculated field separately for this. Okay, so what you do is you just right click, create calculated field. And then I'm just giving a name mean. Now here what you need to do is you need to use this function called as total, which is like a table calculation. So for the entire data table, it will calculate this average value that we are putting inside. So average of the profit. So this average of profit, I'm just putting it as a total so that this implies basically I am calculating the average for the entire data set. Any questions here, guys? Till now?
No, sir.
All right. So this is a simple formula. You can just type this in. Click OK. Now I'll just tell you the difference. See, typically when you put a customer name over here and you put the average of profit over here, okay, each customer we have only one row, so this is what it's going to look like. Okay, but when you put the calculator field that we just created, when I'm just putting the mean over here, now let's remove the old one. Now you see every customer has only the same value against him or her. 361.2 is the only value that we have, which is an indication that this particular value is the entire average for the entire data set. Okay, so this is one calculator field that we have to create. The next step is to create a similar calculated field for the standard deviation. So let's say standard deviation, and again the same formula. We're just putting a total and standard deviation of the profit. Okay. So again, if you see here, I'm just putting the customer name over here. If I put the standard deviation over here, then it's going to give me the same thing because we have calculated this at the data table level. Okay. Everyone done until here? Any questions?
I'm done.
All right.
Yeah, me too, Sai.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. Okay. So the next step or the next calculated field that we create is the most important field of all. Okay. This is basically the formula that we saw in the Excel file over here. So the f of x, the formula for the probability density function. Okay. So so you can see that it's the same 1 by sigma into square root of 2 pi multiplied by e to the power of. So for that, so we already have the inbuilt functions for the constant pi in Tableau. So instead of keying in 3.14, you can just directly use this function pi. Okay. and then multiply by exponent of, so e power, we're just using this function in Tableau, exponent function, minus half into the bin value. Now you can see here that I've not directly given the bin value as such, but I've given the attribute of the bin value. Okay, this is because there is one additional step that we need to do here. You might have created this calculator field called as bin value at the beginning. Okay, you just drag this and drop it onto the dimensions section. Okay, this is because we need this bin value will basically be our x-axis. Okay, so we will be dragging and dropping this onto the columns shelf over here. So in order to get the bins like this, we need to have the value as the columns or the dimension. Okay, so if I'm giving this as a dimension, I can't specify the value directly, so that's why we are giving the attribute function over here. So we need the attribute of the bin value. Now I think what I'll do is, for the sake of convenience, I'll just copy paste this formula in the chat. I think typing this formula will be a bit tricky, so okay, so I've just typed or sent the formula in the chat window in our same Zoom call. Okay, look at it. Let me also in the meantime create a calculator field for that. So I'm making a right click, I'm creating a calculator field, I'm calling it, let's say, normal distribution curve. So I'm just pasting that formula over here. Just let me know once you have created a calculated field and pasted the formula over here. We can proceed then. Formula is in the Zoom chat window. All right. So I'm just clicking on OK. So next step is nothing but you just drag and drop the bin value in columns. We just did that, and then the number of records and the normal distribution columns in the rows. Okay, so we have the number of records over here, which will give us our distribution. So this is basically the distribution that we have in the data. So given that we have specified a bin class interval of 100, so between 0 to 100, we have 158 records, 100 to 200, we have 104 records, 200 to 300, we have 104 records, and so on. Okay, so this is one column. The other is we need to overlay the normal distribution curve calculated using the probability density function formula on top of the existing distribution of the data. So now you see, this gives the perfectly normal curve over here. Okay, so what you can do is you can just make this a dual axis, and you can just change the mark types over here. So the number of records, we need to view it as a bar. I'm just changing that here, and the normal distribution curve, we need to view it as a curve or a line. So I'm just changing the mark type of the curve over here. Yeah, we got this. So now you see, this is the actual data that we have, and this is how the data will look like if it were to follow perfectly normal distribution. Okay, so just to repeat, put the number of records and the normal distribution columns onto the rows shelf, make it as a dual axis, and then you can just change the mark type over here. Okay, now you notice one thing, you just hover over any point in the curve over here. So it says bin value 500, and the normal distribution curve value is 0.0004408, right? So in order to just make a quick verification, what you can do is just go over here, you just type 500 instead of the x that we have here, and you get the same value, 0.0004408. So basically, this is just to confirm whether the formula that we have put in is correct. So the norm dist for the value returned by the norm.dist function in Excel, as well as the value returned by the probability density function formula that we have created in Tableau, is basically the same. So for 500, we have this value over here in Excel, and yeah, you have the same value here in Tableau as well. Hope everyone is done until here. Please let me know if any of you have any questions. Or on the Tableau chart, or on the concept of normal distribution, anything, please let me know.
All clear from my side, sir.
Sorry, apart from grading, like, can you give any other applications in industry or like some company where we will go for normal distribution?
Yeah, so the applications are very varied actually. So typically, so if you remember in one of the previous sessions, I was talking about this concept of Six Sigma, right? So manufacturing is one particular domain where they use this normal distribution a lot. Okay, so basically what they do is they like to see how distributed or how dispersed the products are. Okay, so for example, they have something called as the tolerance. Okay, so how many products they manufacture are within that exact specified diameter or that exact specified length. So they make these measurements and then they plot this normal distribution curve. Okay, if this normal distribution curve is very narrow, if the area between here, right, the area under the curve, as they say, if that area is very, very narrow, then it means your most of the values are following within the specified limits. Okay, so Six Sigma, as the term implies, it means that 99.999% of the values fall within your specified limits. So there's something called as upper specification limit, there's something called as lower specification limits. So more than 99%, almost 100% values fall within this particular area that you see here. So the narrower this curve is, the more focused or the more closely located your data points are. If this curve is very wide, then basically it means your data points are all over the place. Okay, so in a manufacturing scenario, instead of the marks, what you will take is your length or diameter or something like that, or the weight. Okay, and then you plot this normal distribution curve. If this curve is very wide or something, then it basically means that your manufacturing process is not up to the mark. So that is one example that I can give you, used in the industry today.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, so that's what I had for today.